Live yet? Okay, now we're live, so you should put it on the start.
I haven't done this in a while.
Already messing
Hello,
this up.
everybody. We're the Two Big Girls.
What's up?
This is our Friday night smoke sesh. Welcome, and we're super excited to bring you a brand new special guest tonight.
Yeah.
This is Mimi Cannabis.
Hello,
thank you
everyone.
so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I've been a fan for a while, so
We're so
I've
excited
wanted
have
to
you.
do I've wanted to do your podcast for a long time.
Oh my
So
god, that's so
Yeah.
sweet. I'm so
Yeah.
happy you're just hanging out and gonna smoke some weed with us.
Yeah,
absolutely I am. So
we're honored for sure.
So, for anybody that doesn't know, this is Mimi. Mimi, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you located right now?
Well, I am in Hamilton. I have been in the cannabis space for 8 years. I started before legalization, opening up cannabis supply companies, and we were basically Tilray clinics throughout Southern Ontario, St. Catharines, Burlington, Brantford, all through there. And then I decided to go out on my own. I've been in my own business now for 4 years. My company's called Mimi Cannabis, and basically I talk a lot about mature cannabis use, how I use cannabis, I've used cannabis 45 years.
You're an OG, yeah.
But how I use it, I use it, I use a lot of oils. I smoke a lot of flower too, vapes, what have you. I do concentrates. People are like, "Oh my God, really? You do dabs?" Yeah, sure I do. I love cannabis. Cannabis has been a part of my life for 45 years. Alcohol was never a really great friend of mine. And I think that a lot of us cannabis users can equate to that and kind of identify with that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did have my time and my but it just never like now I couldn't even imagine drinking. So yeah.
So essentially what you're saying is that you've been smoking weed since you're like 2 years old.
Oh, I wish. Thank you. Thank you. If you were here, I'd give you a great big kiss. And you know what? I'm not ashamed to say I just turned 60 on September 11th.
Oh my God.
Wow.
You're beautiful. You're amazing. Yeah. And happy belated birthday.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I equate a lot of it to cannabis oil, but I use it on the outside, on my skin as well. I use it on my face. I ingest it. I really equate a lot of the way I feel to cannabis oil. But especially, I have a real love, the 3 C's, cannabis, cosmetics, and coffee. So I do love cosmetics as well. I always have.
You've like created a cosmetic, haven't you? Like a lip.
Well, I'm going to be showing you something that I've been working on because I really want to, do something extremely different. Of course, nothing's for sale. It's just me playing with my 30 grams and having some fun because cosmetics are such a big part of my life. And skincare. I really, like I said, I use cannabis oil all over my body. So I've been doing this sort of series, Get Ready With Me 420, where I do my skin routine and I talk about certain skin products that are on the market right now, bath bombs. Because I really don't think, and I think you'll agree with me, that topicals are getting the attention that they deserve.
For sure.
I think everyone wants to talk about the flower and the this and the that and the latest vape and this and that. And I think that it is such it's, it's under tapped,
Oh yeah. There's so many
so
different parts of the plant that can be used like medicinally and like, and
Yeah.
it's insane. So yeah, there's
and
definitely
topicals are really like, if I had to put my favorites in order, I would have to put them probably first or second. So,
Yeah.
that's why I really, really enjoy them. And then, of course, cosmetics have always been able to use this sort of get by with this, because you'll see packaging in the drugstore with cannabis leaves on it. And
Yeah.
they've been allowed to use the term sativa oil, or
Yeah.
what else? I forget what they call it.
Hemp. There's like
And
hemp.
it's really just hemp seed oil that
Yeah.
they're allowed to use, right?
Yeah.
But I think we need some stuff with real
Yeah.
cannabis in it.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been working on top of Mimi's
Awesome.
Joint Jewelry, which I'm in about 30 stores now.
That's amazing.
And also I do a lot of pop-ups with that, and markets and all kinds of things with Mimi's Joint Jewelry.
That's
So I'm
great.
busy all the time. So that's me in a
incredible.
nutshell.
That's
That's
really
incredible.
exciting.
Yeah, that's
And
incredible.
medical cannabis. Like, I mean, if anyone comes to me, my business is always paired with a medical cannabis company. So I'm always available to help anybody speak to someone if they need to speak to someone. I am affiliated with Argento Medical. It's a wonderful new company in Burlington where they have their own pharmacy and everything. So
That's amazing.
Great.
yeah, and it's woman owned. So
Yeah. Love
we're
that.
really, I'm really trying to stay supportive in that regards. So lots of new things happening, hopefully, like I said, in the new year, with playing around with cosmetics. I mean, it's I have developed a lip oil. It's
Yes, that's what I saw.
this is the branding here, the
Very
the
nice.
M,
I love
and then
it.
it's an infused lip oil with THC and CBD, because lip oils are the latest
Heck yeah.
craze in cosmetics, right?
Yeah. I
So,
definitely I work in cosmetics, so I train makeup artists and for a
oh
big
wow,
company. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't say the company. I don't say the company like while I'm doing 2BD.
right.
Because it's a very big, it's the biggest makeup
For sure.
company, right?
Yeah.
Well,
But
we're gonna have to talk.
well, yeah. I was like, that's
In the
why
DMs.
I feel like
In
But
the
you're gonna
DMs.
laugh. I want to make a lip oil, and you're gonna laugh. The other thing that I really want to make is a makeup wipe
Okay.
that's infused. Something at the end of the day that we come in and we
That'd be
just,
incredible.
Yeah. Soothing.
So those are
and
the
You could do like a wake up, like
top
refresh
two
one.
projects.
that's amazing.
That's great.
I know. I feel like we've just met you, I feel like in person now, right? Not social media. And I'm like, already from your vibe, I'm like, we're gonna all be best friends.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. We've loved you just like on social
Yeah.
media. Now it's just like solidified.
Cannabis. Yeah. Right.
Cannabis, coffee, and cosmetics.
That is me.
And
That's
I'm
yeah.
a coffee snob.
in a nutshell.
Yes.
Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are those are kind of my 3 C's. Always working on different things, and I'm fortunate that I've made it 4 years. Like, it's surprising, that my business has made it. But I mean, I've certainly kept my overhead low. And I think that's why. I mean, I was like everybody else. My husband and I wanted to run out, get a store. That's what we were doing. And then we saw, like, I got to witness kind of the whole shit show.
The shit show.
And
yeah.
and that's when I decided to invest in myself, really, and go ahead with Mimi Cannabis and help mature people, help talk to mature people about using cannabis,
Yeah.
what the benefits are. I mean, I think there's a lot of people my age and older that walk into the stores and expect to get information, and they're just not getting it, right?
Well, and especially too, like, I know
so I
even,
think.
like even with my dad.
Now, are you
right?
allowed to talk in Manitoba about anything medical in the stores? I don't think so, right?
No, No, not really.
No, no.
Because I told them that I
Like,
had said something. Yeah, not really.
yeah, because in Ontario, like they're not. So,
Yeah.
you're getting a lot of confused people, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh
they're
yeah.
like, well, why can't you answer my question? I think that, there's a lot of confusion. I think there's been a lot of, because let's face it, 55 and 50 to 55 is one of the is the number one demographic walking into the legal
Yeah.
stores,
Yeah.
right? We have the most disposable income, but we're not getting the right information. So I think the government really messed up there. And, I think it would have been really better for Ontario if they had a combined rec and medical so that, there was, even if the stores could only afford to have a nurse practitioner come in one day a week and see those people that really need to be seen, right? But it's just become loss of information, lack of education. Um, I think now we've got stores closing at a rapid pace. Especially in my city, we've lost quite a few. So,
Well,
uh,
our statistic here is that there's more dispensaries now in Winnipeg than there is Tim Hortons, and there's a lot of Tim Hortons. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the market is very saturated here, and it's not even
Crazy.
about. I feel like a lot.
it was here too. It's not as
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
they're
now because they're all closing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're all
Now you can say saturated, but are they being shopped in, or are some of them like ready to
Yeah.
close the doors,
Yeah.
Some of them are, yeah.
Especially too when you're getting
Yeah.
all of your weed kind of from the same places, right? And
Mhm.
it's like so all the weed's like legal dispensary weed. It's all the stores have it. So now you're essentially basing it on like, do I like the people that own it? What do they have extras they offer? Now you're just like it's like you're trying to build those relationships with the owners now. It's because there's so many dispensaries. How do you choose? Right? And
How
it's
do you
like
choose where to shop?
and
Is it
how do you make
menu? Is it
money?
price
Yeah.
point?
Yeah.
Is
How do
it,
you make money? Yeah.
Your community.
Yeah.
Like,
and surprisingly enough, I don't think it's necessarily price point. I mean, now, of course, things are a little tighter,
Mhm.
but I do think that menu and customer service goes a long
For
way.
sure.
Because I know there's certain cultivars that I just really, really love. And I know what stores always have them in stock, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's you get your favorites, you get I also have medical too. So
Mhm.
if I want my medical platform, Argentio has a lot of interesting stuff that I can't get in the stores. So,
Mhm.
it's I kind of shop around, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, I know. I don't. It's
I
getting like
mean,
it's been 5 years, right? So like it's getting
I know.
better. Like it's better than what it was when it started. But
Yeah.
there's still a ton of work that's got to go into it, and like like Manitoba is one of the only. Oh, it's now Quebec too now, right? We're
Yeah,
like the
you
only
can't grow.
provinces that can't grow.
Yeah.
So it's like we got to get on board with everybody else, and then
Well, and you know what? It's such a nice hobby, especially
Yeah.
for even retired people. And that was kind of in my business plan too, was to get into that with, to talk more about that with retired people, grow plants with with the time that you have. There's so many things wonderful things like my husband and I grow together. So you know what I mean? It's a great hobby. It's
yeah,
it's something really nice to do.
and it takes a lot of
Um,
love.
but I think
Sure.
yeah, it does. It does. Like I've never grown inside before, only outdoors.
Okay.
But I would like to get a tent and attempt the whole indoor experience. But
For sure.
I'm not quite sure if I'm ready or have the time for that type
Yeah.
of like outside. Yes, you check on them every day, but I
Yeah.
mean it's not
Yeah.
as intense, right?
Yeah.
So,
The sun doesn't have a timer
but
on
yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's a
exactly,
it's a
exactly.
natural timer that's
Yeah.
just gonna,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can't control that.
Yeah.
But in a tent and stuff, you got to make sure it's on and off at certain times, and like,
Exactly.
yeah, too much.
But there's been a lot of events going on in Ontario lately. We've got the Kind Fair coming December, I
that's
believe
great.
it's 5th and 6th. We have another big industry night going on in Niagara Falls. We have, I mean, it's still very much like it's hard to put into words, but like there's still very much 3 or 4 distinct markets here, right? I don't know what it's like out there, but there is, and I kind of blame the government for that. But
Yeah.
that's something they have to work out. But there's very much a beautiful legacy market in this area, in Toronto, Hamilton
Yeah.
area. There's also, we're very close to Six Nations, so there's definitely like lots and lots out there. So there's very distinct markets here. And I think that's going to go on for a while,
Hmm. That's amazing.
you know. I mean, I think the more that the government kind of messes up, the more, but I do see them, they're calling on, legacy people to help them in the legal market. And,
Yeah.
theoretically, that's what should have
That's
happened
what
in the
you need.
first place.
Yeah.
We have finally
That's
like a
what you
Yeah.
need, right?
We
Yeah.
have some people that are finally like we're really happy that are in the legal market
Yeah.
and like it's gonna be great.
right. That's who you need. You can't just
Yes.
hire
And
these like kids that are like, oh, I know how
Never
to
grown
grow.
before.
Yeah. Give them a big room of plants and like,
yeah.
okay,
And I mean,
not
and
only
not
keep it
to
alive, make
yeah.
it good.
And I mean, and
So
we can talk all day about the social justice aspect of it. Like I went over to New York State recently, and I visited the owner of the New Buffalo store there, Dank 716. And he did time. He did 7 years for cannabis, right? He was one of the
Yeah.
first people to get a license there. So New York State is cropping up pretty fast. So there
Yeah.
was something holding back for the last few months, but that's been lifted. So I think in the new year we're going to see a lot more stores opening over there.
Yeah.
But they have used that social justice model right from the beginning, and I think we kind of he said to me, he goes, well, how did people in Ontario get stores? I said, a lottery. And I was kind of embarrassed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I said it, like, to someone like him, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there was no real social justice aspect to, who got stores or,
No. Not
who
at all.
didn't. And, and I mean, and I think that
It was like the opposite.
we fucked up in that regard.
Yeah.
We did.
I feel like we only
So-
had Tweed and Delta 9 because everybody thought they were going to open up these stores, but then our government was like, you need to pay us like $500,000. I don't even know what it was. It was like something stupid, right? So obviously
Mhm.
only big corporations like Tweed and Delta 9 can afford to like, regular person who wants to open up a cannabis shop doesn't have that kind of money just lying around unless, you're one of the
Exactly.
few.
And I mean, there's people here that have lost their parents' money and their, it's sad, that,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that everyone thought it was going to be a license to print money. Well, it's not. Not
Yeah.
by the time you're paying pay, and is saturation, like what you're
Yeah.
seeing. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think we're going to lose probably another 10 before it's over with here in Hamilton. And I think we had 76.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't know the number, how many we have. I feel like
I have no idea.
That.
But it used to be like
Well,
one
I
into one,
believe
at
there
least.
was 1,200 in
now-
Ontario, and now we're down to 1,000. If I'm not mistaken, now, audience, don't quote me on that, but I think I'm in the ballpark with those numbers for Ontario.
They're used to us just making up our own shit, so don't worry. I think it's like that. I don't know.
But yeah, it's sad, I mean, it's, there was no, you can't open here because this guy's like they ended up with stores next door to each other in Ontario. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, And there
Yeah.
was no moratorium on how many could be opened in a certain area, or
Yeah.
where there should have been, right?
Buddy,
Yeah.
I feel like two cannabis stores that are open right beside each other, that's just a natural sitcom. Like, I feel like,
Yeah.
That was
the
like the
daily
Starbucks and
battles,
second cup.
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Like the
Or it
owners
would be
outside
like the
Battle.
front,
two
like,
families that owned the pizzerias, say in Little Italy next door. There was a movie about that. There were two families in it, and it was comical, right? And they were right
right?
next door to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of sad the way the government, after they decided to privatize it, which was great, but they didn't quite follow through, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Now, your stores, are they privatized?
Yes.
Well, some of them are, but like
Yeah.
I feel some of them that like aren't successful and are
Yeah.
getting bought out
But
by
now,
the big companies,
Yeah.
you like
but they're
set,
keeping the
yes.
small names, so
Yeah.
people don't really know it's like the big companies owning it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for instance, how many Canna Cabanas would you have in Winnipeg?
Well, I don't know, but Rick said that just another one opened up today in
On
Osborne. So
Osborne. Rick, how many is
Yeah.
there in
Rick,
Winnipeg? Yeah.
how many kind of cabanas are there in
Yeah,
Winnipeg?
Yeah.
and
Or
they've
even in
closed
Manitoba?
by undercutting here too. They've
Yeah.
closed by undercutting some of the stores here, and I think that, it happened, right?
Yeah.
It's sad. But yeah, I tend to try to make it a point to go somewhere where I know they only own one or two, just to try to keep that door open, because, like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad. It's sad. A lot of people invested a lot in it. And I mean, I was in a store in Mississauga, because Mississauga didn't opt in until recently. I was in a
Wow.
store in Mississauga, and they had been paying rent on it for 4 years.
Wow.
4 years. So that they would have a spot as soon as bam. But
Like, yeah.
imagine paying the rent
Yeah.
for
For
4 years.
yeah, nothing there. Not
Exactly.
make it just to, like, that's just throwing away your money. You're like,
That's ridiculous.
hopefully. Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
You have too much
So
money. That's what you do.
So
yeah,
maybe
I
what's
mean, a
your
little bit.
what's,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's your favorite, like, strain of weed to smoke? Do you have like an OG strain that you've always
The
really
cheesier,
loved?
the better. And I love Kush. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? I don't like anything that tastes like outdoorsy. I'm not a big pinene. No, I'm more of a I like beta carotene a lot. I like myrcene a lot.
I love
And
Mercy.
during the pandemic, strangely enough, because I used to only smoke indicas before the pandemic, I noticed during the pandemic I needed that little lift, and I started smoking a lot more hybrids with limonene in them. I got wired on that Cuban links. I don't know if you've ever tried that one, but
Don't think
it's
so.
amazing. But yeah, it's but I was never a real sativa person prior to the pandemic, but I really felt that I needed that during that time, for
Yeah,
sure,
for sure.
for to keep myself creative and
Yeah.
to keep myself from being depressed. I
Yeah.
mean, it was, yeah. So
Yeah. The sales definitely went up during COVID, that's for sure, especially because it was like an essential, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
the stores stayed open. So they made a
oh
lot of
yes.
weed sales.
Yeah.
What else are you
Oh,
gonna do? You're stuck at home. You're smoking more weed.
Yeah, you can't do anything, right?
Yeah. What's your
exactly. And I mean,
What's your favorite way?
go ahead.
What's your favorite way to, like, consume weed? Is it like smoking
I
it? You like
I
eating
love my
edibles?
oils, of course,
Mhm.
but I love to just smoke a joint. I'm not a bong user, but I will dab in a dab rig, or a shatterizer, or, of
Yeah.
something of that nature. But yeah, I'm a joint smoker for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
That's your
sure. And
fave.
I love to smoke joints. Yeah, but I mean, I used to smoke cigarettes. Maybe that's why I like to smoke joints, because
Well, you also sell a lot of
it's
joint
been many
holders.
years since I smoked cigarettes, but it
Yeah.
certainly
It's that
gives you that
habit. Yeah.
feel.
But, like, right, this one. Yeah.
But you also sell a lot of
Yeah.
like joint holders, right? Like
Yes,
your
my joint
website.
holders. I have a
Yeah.
couple here to show.
Nice.
This one is probably my number one seller. It's
Is
a
it a
Oh,
snake?
snake,
that's so cute.
Yeah.
and they kind of
Oh,
just
right in the mouth.
sit on the tip of your finger, and then this is adjustable, and you put your joint in and smoke this way. And then
Amazing.
I sell, like, I have all different kinds, like these ones that this one's a turtle, and I so cute.
So cute.
But I have turtles, stars, butterfly, you name it, I have
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
So you put your joint in there, and then there's this little ball that goes up and tightens them.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
um
Hold it in between there.
but yeah, and then you just kind of hold, okay, where's the camera here? Just kind of hold them on the tip of your finger, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and then my new branding are hemp and cotton bags.
Oh, very
So the
nice.
stores get these to give to the customers, and a lot of people use them as little stash bags afterwards,
Yeah,
which is cute.
Sure.
And my logo on them for Mimi's Joint Jewelry. But yeah, that was really hard to source and do, because afterwards I'm like, okay, so now I got to print them, and I'm like, and the quotes I got, I'm like, no, I can't do that. So I had a rubber stamp made, and I
Smart.
stamped them.
Smart. Yeah.
And they look kind of rustic, and
Yeah.
they sort of suit the theme without costing a fortune,
Yeah.
because
That's so
I
smart.
didn't think it all the way through, because I thought, oh yeah, I can get someone to print those, no problem. Yeah, right. So, and finding a bag that was 50% cotton and 50% hemp, right, was
Nice.
Yeah.
hard.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so
That's amazing.
I
Gosh.
kind of bit off more than I could chew for that one. I was like, oh God, I just want to, it's
Yeah.
just right. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I like tomorrow night, for instance, I'm at a Spirit Leaf. I've been doing pop-up shops at Spirit Leaf.
Oh,
So
fun.
so I take all my stuff, and the staff try to pair pre-rolls with my joint jewelry, and
Oh,
it's really
sweet.
That's
it's a
cute.
nice pop-up, and it's fun, right?
Yeah.
So, and like I said, there's still lots of markets here, lots of things going on. Like every night, I swear there's something going on
Yeah.
here. So it's like, now you guys need to have an event out there.
Right? I agree. Nobody likes Winnipeg anymore.
Yeah. The hemp fest.
Hemp
So-
Fest was
Now,
like
did
really
you
great.
go
Yeah.
to Grow Up or anything?
No.
Grow Up was in Alberta, I
Oh,
think.
No, we
no,
haven't.
no.
We haven't.
No, you
I'm
haven't.
thinking just like
Yeah.
grow up. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
grow
that's
up.
grow up.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to grow up. Yeah.
yeah.
Grow up,
But
though.
yeah,
Grow up
they need
conference.
to, because I know, even because I do the news to the north, like Sudbury, Thunder Bay, all up in there. That's the network that I work for, that I
Yeah.
do the Ganja news with. Um, they have no events either, and they're
Yeah.
like, Mimi, come and do an event in Sudbury, come and do an event in Thunder Bay. Like,
Yeah.
nobody's doing any events
Yeah.
in those places, and it makes me sad, because
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we gather, that's where we talk, that's where we
I feel
exchange
like
ideas.
we didn't have one this year, but we've had legacy events. So there's definitely been like
Yeah.
Love Mob Cup and
Underground things, but
yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything.
So like
And I mean, and that's the
Unity
thing too. I
Cup.
was saying
Yeah.
that in another interview recently, that, it's like nobody's really stopped anybody from having
Yeah.
these events.
Well,
So,
here they have.
Yeah. It's
oh
like
no,
you gotta find a private property. They'll still come and check, but as long as you have your I don't know, your fire.
Look, you can't smoke in public here.
Yeah.
oh yeah, no. There's
So,
not too
and
many
then,
indoor consumption,
well,
but
even like
there's
you can't smoke
definitely
outdoor.
markets.
You can't smoke outdoor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Like
But
it's
yeah, that's going to be, as much, and I mean, as much as I would love to see consumption lounges, I just think that we're a long ways from that.
Yeah.
yeah.
you
It's
know,
Vancouver
crazy
is
though
very
because
smoking
ahead of us.
inside
you
and
you can still
Yeah.
have there's hookah lounges, so there's people still
yeah,
smoking hookah inside the bar.
Yeah.
What's the
yeah.
difference, man?
I
Like
don't
it's
I
still
don't
smoke, it's
understand that.
still yeah. Like obviously you're only going if you're gonna go into a consumption lounge just because either a like you are well aware that it's a
Yes.
consumption lounge.
Yeah.
Right? You're not getting tricked into walking into like a restaurant, just a like a Denny's,
Yeah.
people just smoking weed, right? Like inside the Denny's. No. Like if you're
Yeah, how
you know,
do they?
yeah.
How do
Well,
they?
and it's
Because
like
there
an
is
age
one here in
restricted, right?
Hamilton,
And
Yeah.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this Smokefree Ontario thing that they've got is just really that's why I'm surprised that the hookah lounges are legal, because I'm starting to think that they probably aren't, because at least the ones here aren't, because Smokefree Ontario is really, really strict.
Yeah.
Well, like it's kind of like a gray area. I feel
Yeah.
because it's like a cultural thing, right?
But like
So
I feel like
Yes.
and I feel like they're not getting, you know, the cops really don't give a shit. Right.
yeah.
But if somebody were to open up a weed consumption lounge in Winnipeg, that shit would be shut down instantly.
Well,
Somebody
somebody
tried
opened a
to
Immediately.
mushroom store and it was
Immediately.
like
so
2 days or
somebody
something.
actually opened up a mushroom store in Winnipeg in like
Osborne Village.
Osborne Village, and it was
Wow.
open for how many days?
Like I
Before-
swear 2 or 3
like
or
two
something.
or 3 days, and then it instantly got raided. But the
A
money
ton of cops.
that person put into renting a space in Osborne Village, right, decking it out, setting it up as a business, and this and like it's for sure not legal to sell mushrooms.
It's supposed to
here.
be like a safe, right? Like
Yeah.
so for people to
Yeah,
go
it
and
is,
ask
yeah,
questions
they-
and like
And
it's supposed to be a
here
great
they
thing,
get
but
shut down and they open right back up the next day. They don't care.
yeah, no, Winnipeg, like it's just Manitoba's
They're like,
not the same.
okay.
Well, and I feel like it's like the last time that we had a hemp fest here too, like it was literally like they were getting things confiscated. So people had their setups and they were like they had them there like a year before or like 6 months before. It wasn't
Yeah.
even like a year. So they had like one there and it was super successful and everybody had a great time. And then the next one, and like the cops raided it and they were like, nope, like you have a super huge fine confiscating like all of your material. And like, yeah, you're not allowed to like show this in public. Like this is illegal. And it was like, what? Because it was like right before it was legal, everything
Yeah.
was fine and the cops were there, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Cops were probably like buying weed. And then the second time it was legal and everybody got their stuff confiscated and fined. And then like Hempfest never came back.
Yeah.
So like
They were like, peace, we're not coming back. to
nobody
Manitoba."
wants to come here.
Yeah.
Because like,
So
They're
now what about
dicks.
Indigenous stores? Are there Indigenous stores?
yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely have some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
So maybe there's some way
Yeah.
that they're able to.
And they're and I
Maybe,
mean
like,
here
the-
they're opening off
the
of
laws.
off reserve as well. They are.
Mhm.
They're opening
Yeah.
off reserve as well. You know, so it's too bad that things weren't done properly to begin with, or we wouldn't be dealing with this. You know, we wouldn't be dealing with so many different markets, you know. But when you leave people out of a conversation, you know, legacy people, Indigenous people, guess what? This is what's going to happen, right? And that's exactly what happened. And I think that they're starting to realize that, and that's why they are bringing in more legacy and craft growers, and really, you know, paying attention to and listening to those people, right? You know,
have the knowledge about it.
yeah,
You
I
know?
mean,
Yeah.
but it's kind of too little too late in a lot of ways, because, you know, we have such a strong, you know, Six Nations is huge here. Alderville, huge. There's another one up by Sarnia, huge, you know. So it's, you know, there's a heavy Indigenous presence, a market this way. And I don't think it's going anywhere. And they're, you know, they've self-regulated already. So and they have every right to. So here we go, right? They and this is now the government's problem and they have to fix it.
Yeah.
Or not, right? So, but I mean, I support everyone. I mean, my joint jewelry is in stores on Six Nations, right? So I support cannabis, right? It's
Yeah.
not my fault that the government messed it up so much. And to draw these lines between all these markets is made for a lot of bad feelings and is made for a lot of, we support cannabis, we don't just, it's a plant. We support cannabis,
Yeah.
I'm not supporting someone because they sell it a different way, right? So, but I think that's probably the 60-year-old in me, because it's hard. Because for me, I mean, I can remember having a very difficult time getting it. So to be able to have it so plentiful is
Oh,
really incredible.
yeah. Yeah, that's incredible.
You
Oh,
know,
Nastra was
Yeah.
a huge.
it's not perfect, but it's certainly, compared to what I used to deal with to get it. You know,
Yeah.
it was difficult.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just get one per, and then yeah, it was
Yeah.
always a to do, and to see it so open and free is really, really nice. So I support everybody, every market, whatever any entrepreneur's doing. I support, and I think that there's just been too many lines drawn, and I think we all have to work together.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
for
know,
sure.
For sure.
You're just all around about the good vibes.
Yeah.
I am. You know
You're
why?
like, yeah.
Because I lived it. I lived it where, you walk back in from a wedding or whatever smelling like weed and everybody's looking at you. And I mean, I lived the stigma, right? And I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong, the stigma's still alive and well,
For
but
sure
Yeah.
it's
it
not,
is.
but
Yeah.
it was way worse. Trust
Yeah.
me. So we have come a long way. So we have to be thankful for at least getting this far. But is there still stigma? Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes,
for
there
sure.
is.
Yeah.
Lots of it.
That's why, like, even like
Um,
the things like, it's totally acceptable to pose on. So, I'm so sorry. I keep passing this to you, Cupcake.
It's all
I'm
right.
just
It's
stoned, and I
like
feel
you.
like
It's totally.
I'm like, I'm miking the joint. I'm like here, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
Put that down. But I feel like,
My throat.
it's totally it's acceptable to post on social media, even with like alcohol, champagne, blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
oh, yeah.
Right. But the moment you like post weed, or like, you have a joint in
Yeah.
your hand, that's like, no, maybe you shouldn't post that. They say, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's,
Maybe you should delete that.
yeah,
But yet you
should
can take
delete
a
that.
child or toddler into the liquor store, and there's all kinds of glass
Exactly,
and
right?
bottles,
Yeah.
and it's much more dangerous than,
Yeah. Yep.
anyways,
Oh, especially in
will we
Manitoba,
get
they were all
there?
getting robbed.
Will we get there? Not in my lifetime, but maybe in your lady's lifetime. And I hope every day that, it does go that way,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
In the next, say, 30 years, that we will see when we go to a restaurant that there'll be cannabis beverages on the menu.
Yeah.
That we will see, to be able to travel between Canada and the United States with cannabis, right?
Yeah.
Would be wonderful if it would worked out like, okay, you can bring 30 grams between the borders, right? I
Yeah.
have 30 grams, it's stamped, it's
Even 10.
labeled. You know what I mean? Like, they do it for cigarettes and alcohol. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's sad to see, because
Yeah.
the problem in New York State right now is because they don't have enough growers. So
Yeah.
they don't have enough product too.
Yeah.
So, and they don't have government as a middleman. It's just taxed to death, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
same with Massachusetts. My daughter was just recently there, and it's taxed really, really high, but they buy direct from the grower. The government just takes their tax money, puts their little legislation in, and puts their license in, but there's no middleman like here, right? So
Yeah.
in Ontario. Now in Winnipeg, is it done through, like, is there an OCS like here?
Oh, like we have like a commission, like a liquor commission almost.
Yes.
Is that what yeah, so
So
it's now it's out
MLCC,
yeah, it's an LCC. So now cannabis is they've taken that on.
Manitoba
Part
Liquor
of the
Manitoba.
Commission.
LCC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
So the
like
stores order
MLCC,
from the
Manitoba Liquor
LCC,
Commission.
yeah.
MLCC,
ML
Manitoba Liquor Commission.
Manitoba. Yeah,
where in
MLCC.
Saskatchewan, in
MLCC.
yeah, and in Saskatchewan they order right from the grower. Do they not? I believe
Yeah,
so.
well, I don't know about the grower. No, I think that there's like somebody
So
that
they
usually
yeah. They
sells people, sells grower
There's a
stuff.
tier that they go
I
through or
feel like yeah.
something, but it's
Yeah.
not government, right?
And I feel like
See,
even
those
if there's
stores are
like that
probably
Well,
doing
no,
middle,
better.
I guess from the grower. They would buy from the
you
grower.
can have that relationship.
Some of it is from the grower.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And I feel
Yeah.
like you have that relationship with the growers, but I don't think the growers can tell the stores when they're going to crop out or what they're going to have. So they have that relationship with the growers, but it still has to go to like a government thing that distributes it, right?
Somebody wrote a comment. Rick in the Shed said it all goes through Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries. They make 20% off everything that is put through.
Yeah.
Plus the tax.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there is that like middle, you know,
LGCA and MBLL.
they order
They
from
order
Yes.
from
MBLL.
MBLL.
What did we say? MBLC?
And in Ontario,
And
it's
then
the OCS.
MLCC. That's what
Okay.
it used to be before it was
Yeah.
all this stuff.
LLC.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Rick,
Before it all
from the
combined.
Rick in the Shed.
Yes,
What are you
thank
doing
you.
in the shed, Rick?
Well, he's the guy that we sent you the video of.
Yeah.
So he's the one that we're gonna like hear do his
Oh,
rant.
okay.
He gets 2
Rick's
minutes.
rant.
He has like a new segment in our show.
Like Rick's rant.
Yeah.
Rick's rant. Sir
Sir
Scotch Ron purchases direct from the grower. It's the only province that does. Saskatchewan.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Okay.
Saskatchewan is what he
Saskatchewan.
meant to say.
Okay.
Okay.
I was like, what?
Yes. I know. I thought he was going to tell me he was drinking scotch in the shed.
Saskatchewan.
I
Yeah.
know, right? I was like, what?
It's like that's not a real province.
Oh, that's
so
funny.
funny.
Well, thank you for because I mean, like, and I mean, and that's why the Saskatchewan stores are doing well. I have merchandise in 2 Saskatchewan stores. They're doing well there
Yeah.
because they don't have to deal with the BS,
Well, that's good. Oh, hi, Hannah.
right?
Yeah.
Did we
What are you trying to?
try this?
So, like, what's your favorite event that you've ever attended? Like, is it
Well, you know, I'm really good friends with Lyft. You know what? I'm really good friends with the people at Lyft. So I don't know whether we're going to see another Lyft event. I know the one that they had planned for San Francisco was canceled. I think the day of big events is over.
Really?
I really do.
That's really unfortunate.
I do. And I mean, and I don't even. I think we're going to see more small, more intimate events, entrepreneur events where people can actually sell their stuff. I think we're going to see a lot more of that because the big events and those $4,000 booths, there's no return on investment on that anymore.
Yeah.
There's just no return on investment on that anymore. I don't, you can say all you want. Like this week was MJ BizCon. Like as a Canadian, someday, yes. I mean, I already have my joint jewelry in a couple of stores in the States, but you know what I mean? Yes, I would like to go down and of course get it into that market. But honestly, one leg at a time. And that's just true. Yeah. MJ Big BizCon was this week. But like for a Canadian to go down there, I just don't know how much ROI you're going to get from that. And I just don't think you are. The big conferences anymore, I don't know if it's worth it. To go there and work like a dog for 3 days and just break even. Like someone said to me, you'll break even. Well, I'm not in business to break even. I'm in
Yeah,
business to
totally.
make money. Number one, I can stay home and break even.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? And to stand there for 3 days in a row, 9 hours a day on a cement floor, no,
Yeah.
no.
For
That's
sure.
why
It's
legacy events are way better. It's in
yeah,
a big field outside of a city. It's a private property, right? There's people there just hanging out, smoking
They
weed,
and
living
that's
in
why I
really
started
big.
selling
awesome.
wholesale,
Yeah.
because like, here's a bunch, you sell it. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Whatever
Like,
you're doing. Yeah.
I'll supply you with it.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because like at first, when I first opened,
Mhm.
I was like retail sales, like one here, one there. I'm like, what? No, 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 no.
Yeah,
So that's when I decided to go wholesale, and that's
for
when I
sure.
scaled from retail to wholesale. That made all the difference in the world, you
Definitely.
know. And you know, I bought smart. I bought enough. I bought a lot, and it just made more sense, and it has, right.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of things I've done wrong, but there's been a lot of things I've done right.
yeah.
So in the new year, the other thing that I'm planning on doing is I'm looking for a space somewhere between Toronto and Hamilton, where I can hold a sales class to help, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs that have great products but don't know how to sell, or are not comfortable selling, or aren't comfortable cold calling. I've been doing that all my life, right? So, you know what I mean? Like, it's second nature to me. So if I can pass on any of that expertise to some of the younger people, so that's something that I am working on in the new year, to offer a sales course to people who want to strengthen their sales abilities. So I've been doing it for a long time, 37 years. I've sold everything from restaurant food to hotel rooms. I was sales manager for Red Lobster. I used to take lobsters to the primary kids at school, okay, and teach them about lobsters, if you can imagine. And then I'd give them all a free kids meal. So they'd go home and say to their parents, let's go to Red Lobster. And the parents would spend $100.
Not even play with the lobster, taking it back to the restaurant and be like, now you can go eat
Yeah,
It was
that
never gonna
ingenious.
boil that shit. You're gonna just chill it.
It was
cycle of life.
ingenious.
Yeah, cycle of
So
life.
I've done
That's
sales
so funny.
all my life, from
You know what's
clothing
so great,
to
Michelle, is that you just like sold that to me too, right? And I was like, yes.
Let's go to Red
if
Lobster.
if your kid came home and said, the lady from Red Lobster came and she gave me a free dinner and taught me
Yeah.
all about lobsters, and they'd come running up to me in the restaurant if they saw me. Like, I mean, it was hilarious, right?
That's
So
too
I
funny.
take two live lobsters with me, a male and a female, and I teach them all about lobsters and how to tell the difference between a boy lobster and a girl
How
lobster.
do you tell the difference?
And like I said, one has little hairs down below,
Yeah.
and the female has little fine hairs, and the male doesn't have them. But yes,
Okay.
that's what I've sold everything.
You're
So,
brilliant. Yeah.
so I mean, there's nothing I can't sell, but I do have to believe in a product to sell it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really important for me to end this part of my conversation, because honestly, you got to love what you sell. And if I can help others, um so that they can sell their stuff,
Yeah.
I really want to help, right?
Yeah.
So
I used to sell
that's another thing I am, yeah, planning on in the new year.
That's awesome.
I used to sell insurance and gas contracts door to door. So it's literally just cold calling all day, every day.
Yes. And it can be
Yeah.
defeating, but
So funny.
there's also that
It's a
if you're
numbers game.
consistent
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you get that rhythm going and you
Yes.
get it going,
Yeah.
then it's just bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
that,
great.
you know, that can be taught because it's, you know, there's some people that are just shy and don't have the confidence to do it. So
Yeah.
teaching people how to sell properly, it's a lot of confidence building exercises and stuff like that. So I'm looking for a space to do that. Anyone listening out there and between Hamilton and Toronto, I'm looking for a place because although we could do some of the classes online, I want to be able to for them to be able to role play, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for it to be interactive, right?
Mhm.
So I think I would need a place for at least one or two classes for sure. So
Yeah.
definitely even in a store that's a store that would let me use their space,
Mhm.
you know. So I'm definitely looking to,
It's
because I
gonna
don't want to
happen.
charge a lot. I
For
want to
sure.
I want to just cover my expenses and help people sell their goods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's very kind of
You're
you.
amazing.
because I get
Yeah.
that all the time. How do you get into so many stores? Well, I do because I go on foot. I don't just sit and wait for the phone to ring. You know what I mean? I wish, you know, I wish. Social media, you don't get a lot. You get a few cracks and a few leads, but I get most of my stuff with my feet, right?
Yeah.
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 For sure.
And that's old school. I know nobody wants to do that anymore, but that's how I do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're
So
amazing at it. I feel so like you. You just sold me on like 6 different things in this.
Yeah.
Or yeah, like what? I trust you, Michelle.
Yeah.
no, seriously. And I think that's why I've kind of done pretty well too, is as far as medical and things like that are concerned,
Yeah.
is that older people, they don't want to hear it from a kid. They don't,
Yeah.
I mean, their grandson can tell them how wonderful it is till they're blue in the face, but they want to
Yeah.
hear it from someone their own age.
Yeah.
They just do,
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
So
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
'Cause
We're getting to the end of the show.
I
Do
knew
you wanna
it.
like play Rick's End?
yeah,
Rick's Rent. Rick's End.
Rick's End. We're gonna play Rick's End. It's Rick's Rant.
Rick's Rant
We're gonna play
is what
Rick's
I was
Rant.
trying to say.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait to hear Rick's rant.
Yeah. So hopefully you can, I don't know if you can hear it, but you can like listen
Watch
to
the
it
video, yeah.
on your.
Okay, guys. So brought to you by Rick in the Shed, Growers and Smokers. Rick's Rant.
Rick's Rant.
Hey, it's Rick in the Shed. This week's Rick's Rant for the Two Big Girls podcast is going to be about the Ontario government. Here we go. The Ontario government has just announced that they're going to be allowing more dispensaries per company, up to 150 dispensaries each, is what their limit's going to be changed to, which Canna Cabana, which the owner of Canna Cabana was very happy about. So obviously he plans to expand to a ton of locations out there. And then the other thing is that they collected so much taxes, millions of dollars in taxes, and they decided to give it to a whole bunch of nonprofits and all these other, tax write-off havens and all these, universities and all this kind of stuff. And yet the cannabis industry is failing miserably. So instead of them giving back the money to the companies that actually brought in the money but are struggling to pay that money to the government's just throwing around willy-nilly. So for them to help with the cannabis, they want to make sure that they, have more money for advertising to tell us how scary this plant really is and how bad and awful and how you better need to be careful because, this is like the devil's lettuce. So they're going to continue to promote it like that, yet take the tax dollars, and yet all these cannabis companies who are struggling to survive, they're going to keep taxing them. Well, don't you think it would be a better idea to help the companies survive so you can get that tax income later on? Because if those companies don't survive and they end up going bankrupt, guess what you can do with your tax dollars? You can kiss them the fuck goodbye. So I don't know what the Ontario government is thinking when you have all these companies that are struggling to survive, to make money in this industry, and they just say, fuck it, we got our money. We're going to go hand it around, spin it around to all these other companies and all this other shit so we can do it as a tax write-off. Anyways, You guys have yourselves a great day. Happy Friday. Two big girls. Have yourselves a great night. And we'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye.
Wow.
Hey, it's Rick in the
Oh,
Is he ever right? My God, is he ever right? Rick, bravo.
yeah. We fucking love Rick. He, like,
Yeah.
You know,
he,
and
yeah, he just knows.
I mean, I'm not opposed to giving it to places that need it, like our healthcare system and things like that. I'm not opposed to that. But my God, keep these stores open so that that revenue is not just a one-time thing, that it
Mhm.
continues for years and years to come, for generations and generations to come. So, Rick, great rant.
Yeah. Great job, Rick. Yeah. Oh, Bob the
Nice.
Builder. What's up, Bob
Oh,
the
Bob,
Builder?
hey. Dawn
So-
says he's
Wow,
our
that
producer
hour
now.
went. I can't believe that hour is
Right?
almost gone.
Right? It goes very quickly.
I
But
always feel
I'm
like
a
we're gonna
talker.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, no,
Well,
Michelle,
so
you're
are we.
amazing.
That's
yeah.
why we're perfect together. We need to, hopefully we can meet in person one day.
Mm-hmm.
that would be great. I would
Yeah.
love that.
If you're ever in
And-
Winnipeg, like, you'll be
And
on
you're
our show
always live every
Friday.
Friday night. You're
Yeah.
always you go come
Same
on
time.
live every Friday night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Same
Every-
Because
time.
I might have a couple of cool guests for you, so I will
nice,
shoot them
fun.
your way.
Definitely.
Someone that has a whole different way of consuming cannabis.
Oh.
I'd
that
love to have-
sounds
Ooh,
amazing.
right.
Mysterious.
This is mysterious. So,
It is.
and they're an older couple in their 60s.
That's amazing.
So I
That's
think
have an
your
idea.
audience would really dig it. It's a new product out there called the Noser,
Oh.
Noser.
and you attach it to your vape pen.
Is it up your nose?
Up your nose? I don't know if I could do up my nose.
Well,
It's like freaks me out.
Is that for like people
it's
that
for
have
it's mainly
nasal
for
issues?
patients who are having trouble
Is it
coughing.
like
So
nose spray?
yeah, there is a nose spray as well
Yeah.
coming out in the future. But yeah, there are patients that are having a hard time inhaling
Yeah.
all that.
That
Don't
way
like
they're,
the
like, able
oil.
to-
Whatever. So yeah, a nasal technology is coming for us all. So
Wow.
yeah. I mean,
That's
hey,
interesting.
to be honest with you, after 60 years, I mean, I smoked cigarettes for how many years? I can't even remember now. Plus cannabis for 45 or more. My lungs are going to be shot, I'm sure, when I'm old. So I would appreciate that. Right? Right? So I don't know. But there's lots of cool new things happening. Like, and that's the thing, entrepreneurs in Ontario, bar none, there is some really, 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 really cool entrepreneurs, and they need to be focused, and they need to be focused on, and we need to have more of an entrepreneur gathering of people that are doing their own thing, their own way, like you two ladies, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's just those type of people are like, everyone's concentrating on all the big stuff, and all the big stuff's falling up to shit. So guess what?
We've been consistent for 5 years. We just had our 5-year anniversary.
Yeah, good for
We've done
you.
this like every week.
200
episodes. Yeah.
200 smoke sessions. So this is over 200.
That's
now with you.
amazing. And consistency consistency is the key.
Yeah.
I've been completely consistent for 4 years. Completely, even before I was on my own. And that's how you have to be memorable. You're both memorable. And
So are you. So are you.
Yeah, you are amazing.
I would love to come and sesh with you ladies in person. We'd have a great
Yeah.
time.
Anytime.
So thank you so much,
it's-
so much for having me.
You guys,
Thank you so
make
much
sure
for
you,
being our guest.
Yeah, make sure
Yeah.
you guys go check out Michelle, Mimi Cannabis.
Yeah,
Michelle's
www.mimicannabis.com, at Get Ready With Me 420 on Instagram, at Mimi's Joint Jewelry on Instagram.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Here we are.
Incredible.
Yeah. You're freaking amazing. We love you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for hanging
Thank
out
you
with
so
us.
much for hanging out.
This was so fun.
It was really,
Thanks
really,
so-
really good. And it went,
Yes.
you know, it's always great when there isn't a lull in the conversation. And we all managed to find so much to talk about. And I mean,
And we still have so much to talk
another
about.
whole hour. So,
Yeah. I was like, it's
but
your,
once I get a little closer, we need to have a cosmetics private conversation. So we will plan on doing that.
yes.
I'm
Yeah.
going to send you a couple of guests to see if they fit your
Yes,
kind
please.
of mold.
Yeah.
And
We'll smoke weed with
your
anybody.
audience, you know, like
Yeah.
because it seems like you have a good mature audience, which is great, you know.
Yeah. Most of
Um,
them.
For the
so
most part.
yeah,
Bum tokes, as Don Taffer says, bum tokes.
Well, and he's also like 200
Super
episodes in 5
mature.
years isn't
Yeah.
very consistent. And it's like, well, we took some time off when I had surgery and stuff. So,
Yeah, we took like
but
you know,
still, I
Yeah,
mean,
so, like, that's
honestly,
not
literally
nice.
just took a few months off because Cupcake was sick. But like,
and
yeah.
had surgery. Yeah.
Mhm.
So thanks, Dawn.
but thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being our guest. Yeah. We
Yeah.
can't wait to meet you again, or whether it's here or in person.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Right.
good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us, everyone.
guys. Happy
Be sure to
Friday.
like and subscribe this video if
Bye-bye.
you liked it. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Bye, guys.
Stay
We'll see
baked.
you next Friday. We'll see you next Friday.
Yeah, we'll see you next Friday.
Oh, join us tomorrow, Red Tide Live.
Oh yeah, Red Tide Live is starting for the first. It's like their season 5, and it's the first one. I think it's like Spectre is going to be playing.
Yeah.
So and Ray is actually subbing in for Kristen. And so her and Jer, who's been on our show before.
It's gonna be a shit show.
Yeah, they're gonna be hosting the show, and
Who's gonna be you?
I'll be sharing.
Who's gonna be Kristen?
I'll be like, no, none of you.
But that's what I mean.
I'll be behind
The show is not
the
gonna go
doors.
smoothly. I feel like.
I think it's gonna be
I
hilarious.
want to bring Jer a bunch of bananas. Remember how we brought a banana on our show to eat? I'm gonna bring him a bouquet, or not a bouquet, but just like a bunch of bananas tomorrow. So you can eat them on the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy Friday, guys.
Anyways, we love you all. So join us next Friday. We love you all.
Bye. Bye.